The right of the people to keep and wear orange shall not be infringed. Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and follow on Twitter at Cuse Militia.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. As always, if you like it, please share it. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for that. And this episode, we're going to give you your previews for the Syracuse Orange football and basketball teams as they head to the Big Apple to play a couple big games. The Syracuse basketball team will take on UCONN in Madison Square Garden at 7 o'clock. And the Syracuse football Orange will be in Yankee Stadium to take on Notre Dame this Saturday at 2:30, and we'll give you all the ins and outs of that. But first, we got to hear from MyBookie. Listen, if you're betting online, you want a company that's reputable, you want a company that has a easy-to-use mobile site, you want a company that has great online reviews, I recommend you go to MyBookie, okay? They have in-game live betting, over-unders on fantasy points scored, the most rewarding player perks in the business. MyBookie is currently slammed with new bettors and wants to give you the best possible service that they can. So what they're going to do is if you deposit after 7 p.m. and you deposit $100 or more, they will not only match your deposit of $100 or more, but they will give you an extra $25 if you use the promo code CUSE25. If you cannot wait till 7 o'clock and you do it beforehand, they will still match you dollar for dollar up to $1,000 if you use promo code CUSE. That's it. Remember, when you're setting up your account to use those promo codes, you play, you win, you get paid. Thank you, MyBookie. All right, so real quick, again, before we get started, I guess heading into the Yankee Stadium game against Notre Dame, we had, Scoop Bradshaw. He went out last game. And there were some questions whether or not he was going to be able to play. A couple, 3 weeks ago, Melifanu, he pulled a hamstring. He's been out. And when asked on yesterday, at the press conference, Baber said he hopes to have them both for Notre Dame. Okay, well, that's the best we can do. And we talked about Frank Howard. Coach said you'll know when he's playing because you'll see him on the court, basically. So yeah, but Melifanu, he's a great freshman, and it'll be great to get him back. It's getting a little thin back there. So I hope
a little bit of an injury bug in November here. Hopefully, Thanksgiving will give us some good a
little break,
some good health.
Yeah,
something.
Okay. All right. Hey, real quick, too, remember to get in those reviews. I'm not going to do an iTunes review today. We'll do that again in post games. But if you go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and review. If I read your review on the show, you'll get a Cuse crate sent to you. It's got some koozies in it. It's got some decals in it. It's got some other stickers and stuff in it. So all you got to do is take the time to do that. We really appreciate those reviews. They mean a ton if you subscribe and do the reviews. It helps us get recognized on iTunes as we would like to be. Word of mouth is the best, but those reviews really do help when people are searching for a Syracuse sports podcast. So, and remember, if you haven't listened to episode 95 yet, that was the post games from the past weekend. It's still relevant. So, all right, Joe. Let's talk some Syracuse basketball first. They're going to be playing Thursday. Thursday, November 15th, 7 p.m. at Madison Square Garden. UConn.
Not Boston, buddy.
I know, right? UConn just beat University of Missouri, Kansas City, 94-66, and their senior guard there, Jalen Adams, he had 20 points. Looks like a team on the rise. I don't know. Morehead State came within 10 of them, and we know how they played us. So what can we expect against a newly coached UConn team, Joe?
Well, you kind of just said it right there. Jalen Adams is pretty much the leading scorer, 6'3" senior. He's pretty much the guy that they're going to go to. Again, you said it's a new coach. They're guard-oriented. Pretty much 5 out of the 8 guys to get a majority of the minutes are guards. So that's kind of what they do. They've been shooting really, really well from the 3 and from the 2. But again, like I said, they start 3 guards, 6'2", 6 foot, and 6'3", and then they have a 6'8" sophomore, Tyler Polley, and then 6'10" sophomore Josh Carlton, and he's the biggest guy. Pretty much the rim protector, the biggest guy we have to worry about. We're definitely going to have the height advantage. And when I looked into some of the Ken Pom numbers, out of the 4 teams that are in this tournament, UConn is looked at as the worst team. Ken Palm's got him at 96 and 86 adjusted offense, and 107th adjusted defense. So this is probably going to be just another game, just kind of like Morehead State, but with better guards and a little bit more height. And it could pose problems if we continue to shoot the way that we've been shooting. But I'm kind of looking to kind of break that. I don't know. I mean, I hope. But I mean, it could be a close game if we don't shoot well.
Well, Morehead State's defense kept them in that game. It wasn't like some major blowout.
Right.
I can only hope that our defense will be strong enough to do the same. I think after they gathered themselves a little bit, I think we've had kind of a decent little break from Saturday to Thursday.
Yeah.
You don't get that a lot once basketball season starts. So.
But what I worry about most is basically the fact of whether or not they're going to go come out and press and kind of scheme up the way that Morehead State did, because I know that we don't have a true point guard out here. This is assuming that Frank Howard isn't going to be playing, although I do know that he's practicing. But again, but who knows if it's going to be a situation with Frank where we kind of just ease him in anyway and kind of have a little bit of a minute.
Maybe not start him, but sprinkle him in, try to get the rust knocked off type thing. Or what?
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, you never know how they're going to handle the situation. They might just wait until he's 100% good to go. But again, I just worry that these are better guards. They're not good at half court defense necessarily. Not to say that they're not going to be successful against us if we don't shoot well. But worry about is the press and them basically with their athleticism trying to press us into turnovers, like kind of what Morehead State did. But if we can break their press, limit the turnovers, and just shoot a little bit better than last time, and keep our defense that we've been doing going, then we should be able to beat them. I think it's going to come down to turnovers and mistakes, and the shooting percentage is how close this is going to be. If not, it could be a nail biter right down to the end.
Well, the turnovers were due to kind of sloppy ball handling. They weren't expecting that defense to be so scrappy. I think that's one of those things that you can now you know that was a weak point, and you should be able to turn that around. So, and you got a couple more games under your belt. So, do you want to let us know, what can you tell us a little bit about Oregon and help me out.
In Iowa?
In Iowa, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a similar situation. Both pretty good teams. Iowa, they return a majority of their players. They can score. Ken Palm's got them overall at 38th and adjusted offense at 19th, but the defense at 88, and that's kind of been their weakness, is basically stopping teams from scoring, kind of like UConn. And Oregon, when I looked at them actually on paper, they kind of look scary. They had a really good recruiting class. They brought in a graduate transfer guard to go along with another returning guard that's their second leading scorer right now. And their main guy, who's probably going to be a one and done, he's a true freshman. You remember Manute Bol?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a son. His name's Bol.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Bol.
Bol.
Bol. Boll. That's his name.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Oregon's got
Bol. Okay.
Yeah, Ken Palm's got Oregon right now at 17th overall with an adjusted offense of 25 and an adjusted defense of 19. And I guess this Bol guy he's no joke. They do his zone as well. Oregon runs his zone as well, and it's with Bol in the middle of it. I'm pretty sure he's 7'2". And 7'2" freshman. And he's averaging 17.5 points and 12 rebounds a game. Obviously, it's small sample size first 2 games against some not so good opponents, but they run the 2-3. They have 2 6'9" forwards on the side of him, and then 2 seasoned guards, and they have a little bit of a bench. So I'd probably look for Oregon to win that game against Iowa, although it could be close depending on if Bol stays out of foul trouble. But right now, I'm not saying that either team is going to win 100%, but right now I'd say I'd be looking toward a Syracuse-Oregon championship game on Friday night. That's what I hope for. That's what every Syracuse fan should hope for. But on paper, that's kind of what it's looking like.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the 2-3 zone is probably a more true 2-3 zone than what Boeheim runs.
Right. But, I mean, Iowa's a good scoring team, but they don't play against the zone like that, especially with that kind of length down there. And this, we'll see how serious or how for real this Bol kid is. But he was a McDonald All-American. He was Jordan Classy. I know you're going to laugh, but, I mean, that's his name. He's good, and he's going to be an NBA player probably next year.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. All right, JoJo, you have anything else? Anything else? Is that it? You good?
Oh, yes, I'm good. I'm good. That's the best thing that we can hope for this week. Right. Beat UConn and hopefully be able to play against the better opponent in Oregon. Right now they're ranked 13th, and we're ranked 15th, so they're ranked ahead of us. And that would be a great little 6:30 nightcapper game on to get our Friday night started.
Absolutely. And we could, if everything goes well, we could be hashtag winning. If everything goes as planned for the rest of the week.
Hoping, yes.
Yeah, Thursday, November 15th, 7 p.m. at Madison Square Garden, the 2K Classic. All right, Joe. The Syracuse Orange football team will head to the Big Apple as well. It's Saturday, November 17th at 2:30 in Yankee Stadium. This game preview brought to you by the folks at JP Mulligan's. Look, they're going to open early. Why are they going to open early on Saturday? They normally open at 4. They're going to open at 2, so you can get there and you can get stooled up and you can get your $1 off Labatt's that they're going to run during the game. And they've also got the wings. They've also got their happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 6, and you go there, enjoy the game with some Cuse fans. They're going to open up 2 hours early for you, so that's really awesome. Big game.
Yes, sir.
And if you ain't got nowhere else to go, head over there. So tell them Sean and Joe sent you, and you can get some swag. They got some swag over there. So, all right. I mentioned when it was. So Ian Book, he should be back. He's probably most definitely coming back. He led them to 10-0 after 6 victories in a row. After he started, he came in on the 4th game of the season and took over, and he's killing it. I mean, he led the nation in completion percentage, 74.5%, and he was 6th in passing efficiency, 169.96 before his injury 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. He's thrown for 1,824 yards, 15 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions, and he's run for 218 yards and 4 scores, and all of that in 6 games. So it's stout. It's a stout. Yeah. It's a stout offense. They're averaging 199 yards rushing a game. And they're totaling about 453.7 yards a game of offense altogether. Their total offense is ranked 26th in the nation. So,
yeah,
to our 97th ranked defense, which allows 430 yards a game on average so far this season. So that's kind of it on paper. But
go
ahead, Joe.
I'm looking at it on paper.
Looking at it on paper, looks it's going to be one hell of a game, I think. It looks close on paper. It really does.
Yeah, it does. And then even when you look back at their schedule and some of the teams that they played, the way that Notre Dame started, I mean, their quarterback from last year, Brandon Wimbush, he started the first 3 games, and they were real close. I mean, they only beat 24-17 Michigan, 24-16 against Ball State, 22-17 against Vanderbilt. And he pulled the trigger and brought in Ian Book, and ever since then, like you said, he's been highly, highly efficient. Looking at some of these games, there's some teams that have been giving them. I mean, I saw Notre Dame home game against Pitt. They won 19-14. And we know Ian Book, he sat out this past week, and Winbush came out and
crushed Florida State.
Yeah, they crushed Florida State. They ran all over him. Dexter Williams had over 200 yards, which he's going to be a problem too. He's got 770 yards and 10 touchdowns this season.
They're versatile, and they can run it and they can throw it. And
they can run it and they can throw it. I mean, they got Chase Claypool and they got Miles Boykin out there as receivers, and they're very, very capable receivers. And we've talked about earlier about our injuries, mainly in the secondary, and you just got to hope that this isn't the game we've seen in the past, and usually it was quarterback and a bunch of other positions, but usually it was after the first 6, 7 games, 8 games, and you just hope that it's not one of those things where we're getting a little better, but now it's the 10th game, and maybe you hope that wall doesn't fall and you get a bunch of injuries and you just can't keep up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
And again. It's just one of those things where you just got to hope that you put the pressure on them, because they're going to be a tough team, and we have to be able to do all the little intangibles, little things that we've done. Without them, then we're not going to win this game. But I think if we do win special teams and we win the turnover battle and penalties and stuff like that, the little stuff, then I think that we're going to be well entrenched in that game throughout. I don't see them running away with it. The other thing that we have to talk about that we don't really know also is weather as well. This is going to be an outdoor game in the Northeast in the middle of November. We know that, personally that it's already started to snow up there. So
yeah,
and that's really doesn't bode well with the type of offense that we try to run. So, but again, we've been better with our offense, and as far as running, and our offensive line, I feel like is a lot better, and we got guys that are willing to get in there and get tough and dirty, when it's not necessarily the best climate. So,
well, I know that it is a few days out, and it's not set in stone, but it's supposed to be a high of 47 and sunny. So,
let's hope that's what it is.
Yeah, with some snow possible on Friday. So hopefully,
well, dude,
it's weather.
I mean, come on.
I mean, weather's not gonna. It never makes up its own mind. So,
it definitely never.
And
does.
here's another thing.
I just hope it's not a factor.
Right. Well, let's hope it just stays away. I can deal with 47. That's fine. That's not even cold, really.
Notre Dame is stout. Well, not when you're playing football, but Notre Dame is stout. Their defense is good.
Yeah. Well, their offensive line manhandled Florida State's defense. I mean. Obviously, last game they crushed them. One thing I was listening to Coach's Monday afternoon pregame press conference.
Press conference.
Yeah, and Nico brought up a good point. He said, both these teams are going to be in New York, and what are the chances this crowd that's hanging around for these basketball games? Maybe they might as well. If Syracuse wins, even if they don't win, hang around for the football game. It's kind of like it's either going to be all or nothing on that, and I hope that they turn out. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm just speculating here, obviously, but if Syracuse has a bad run in basketball, I hope those fans don't pack up and leave when you got a game at Yankee Stadium on Saturday, because that game is going to be a killer game, and if they win, they're going to be there anyway.
Well, the problem is, first off, I mean, to expect that, someone to go to 2 basketball games than a football, I mean, that's expensive. But either way, if you can, more power to you. But it's where he's maybe this is where his head is. I don't want to speak for him, but I would look at it as almost like a worrisome thing, because let's say you are a fan, but you only had the money to do one.
Yeah, what do you do? I'd go to the football game at this point right now. I got to be honest.
At this point, I think that we would, but I don't think most fans would. I mean, think about it. Outside, 47 degrees for 3-4 hours the way that we play.
Yeah,
and
4 hours easy.
Compared to Madison Square Garden with Syracuse basketball against UConn the last time,
I know. There's so much history there.
Inside.
I know. It's a coin toss, but I'm talking like this at this point in the season.
I mean, if you got children, I know exactly what you're picking.
Yeah, you're going indoors on that.
Yeah, indoors for 2 hours, not outdoors for 4.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
That's just
Yeah.
So,
well,
and that could hurt. That could hurt it. I hope it doesn't. I hope you get the diehards out there, and I hope that there's enough fans out there that realize that this is just the beginning of the season. And as much as Syracuse basketball is back, and it's the first game against obviously an old rival, good game, whatever. It's the beginning of the season. These games don't mean anything to the Syracuse basketball season.
No, they.
I mean, I don't want to say
but
anything. I mean, they kind of do towards the resumes, but it's not going to be the end all, you know. And this game, you're talking about Syracuse football. This is probably the biggest game in 2 decades. So close
really,
to 2
you think
decades.
so? You think
Close.
this is the biggest?
A lot of people are saying since 2001. And
I disagree with that.
I don't think. I mean, you could say the Clemson. You could talk about conference games, and that's what Babers talked about with conference. He kind of downplayed this game and said, you know, they're not a conference team, so it's just kind of a freebie.
Well,
but when you look at it,
I disagree with that too.
When's the last time in the last 18, 20 years that we've been this high ranked? We haven't, and now we have a chance to be a number 3 team. And this, I mean, talk about we've already.
You want one of these rotating bowl games. At this point, when you can smell it and it's in your grasp, you want a New Year's Eve 6 game. Am I right or wrong? I mean, it's right here. We're in the running for it now. If we beat Notre Dame, we're almost locked into something like that. So
to your argument, then what's in the last 2 decades? What's the most important game that we've had? That's big. What's the game that's been more important than this one?
Okay. This probably is. There's more probably riding on this game than there has been in a really long time. I would definitely agree with that.
I mean, this is like obviously.
I don't know if it's important though. Do you see what I'm saying? Like there's a difference there. There's a lot riding on it, but I don't know if it's like the most important.
The way that we're viewed and the respect that we have throughout the media and the country and fans and throughout the other, you know, the whole country. And recruits, this is a huge game in New York City. A chance to possibly bump up into I saw some matchups this week where you can have some teams above us lose, plus beating maybe a number 3 team that might push us over the top of some other teams. But
you can get solidly in the top 10, even if you lose to Boston College, still in the stay in the top 12.
Well, I mean, probably not top 10, but either way. Like I said,
after Notre Dame,
one of those things. It's not the most important, I guess, for probably this coach and the players, but as much as like the perspective of this team on the outside looking in and recruits and possibly the future to help, you know, that's what I mean really for most important.
Yeah, I don't believe it's not important either because it's a non-conference game, which was what Coach said. I understand what he's saying, I don't.
Well, first off, number one, I mean, again, most coaches always talk up the other team.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of those things, you know. Right. Well, you do that, but you kind of downplay the whole thing, you know, and give, you know, butter the other team up a little bit, so to speak. And but he's right as far as, I mean, just him doing that. It's just basically saying that. You know, like he said, we're playing with house money. Like we don't really have pressure. I mean, even if we were to end up going 8-4, I guess the last 2 games would be a disappointment, but it would still be a very successful season in the eyes of the Syracuse fan and throughout the country still too. So, as far as it being a freebie, I mean, it's putting all the pressure on Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame has all the pressure. If they lose one game, they're probably not going to make the college football playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, we're right there as far as, like, I mean, with Ian Book healthy, Pittsburgh gave him a run at home. You know, and Pittsburgh, I mean, we knew it was a decent team, obviously. And now they're on the top of the, the Coastal Division?
Yeah. So,
on the other side, they're probably going to be playing Clemson for the ACC championship. And, I mean, we can be right there. Yeah, so it's going to be an awesome – I mean,
Well, here's the big question then, Joe. You are 8-2 in your MyBookie picks. MyBookie picks brought to us by MyBookie. Remember, if you want to deposit after 7 p.m., use promo code Cuse25. You put in $100 or more, they'll match you your $100 plus an extra $25. If you want to deposit your money before then, you use promo code Cuse. They'll match you dollar for dollar, up to $1,000 still. And you win, you get paid. That's it for that. So, Joe, on to the MyBookie pick. Now, they are now favored by 10. Notre Dame's now favored by 10. Okay, so you're going to this game, Yankee Stadium. You're 8-2, just like the Syracuse football Orange, Joe. And you got to lay your money down. Where are you going to put it?
I mean, why wouldn't I put it with everything else that I put it with? First off, as a Syracuse fan, I mean,
right,
am I really going to take Notre Dame minus 10? Am I really going to say that?
No, I hope not.
No, of course not.
Well, I got to play devil's advocate here. Come on.
Oh, I know. Syracuse, I mean, if you bet Syracuse this year, you've made a little bit of money.
Paid. Yeah, you got paid.
If you bet the over on wins and if you bet them every week, you're getting paid.
I projected Syracuse at the beginning of the year 7-5, so they've already done that.
Yeah, there's not too many people that projected them to get 8 wins. I'll tell you that.
I know it. Well, what was the preseason pick was 2. Remember?
Yeah.
2
For some people, yeah. I mean, I think it was 4.5. I think it was 4.5 in Vegas, but
okay.
I just look at it like, as a Syracuse fan, I can't say that. And they've been there, and there's really no reason. This
game. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm getting excited.
No, there's just no reason why I wouldn't take that. So that's really all.
So this game means a ton to me. Now, my brother-in-law is a huge Notre Dame fan.
Well, dude, it means a ton to everybody. You know what I mean?
But I gotta say that it means a little bit more to me in that sense. I gotta one up it because look, this would be such sweet victory for me. After the beginning of the year, he bet me that Syracuse was going to lose to the Eastern Michigan Broncos. Western Michigan Broncos. Okay? So, and he said at the beginning of the year, Syracuse football. Syracuse is a basketball school. Syracuse is a basketball. Now he calls me today and he says, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a little nervous. I think Syracuse might be the only team left on our schedule that can knock us out of the playoffs. So, we got to change of heart here. Syracuse is up in the top. They're ranked 12th now. And he's like, what are they ranked, 17th? I'm like, no, they're ranked 12th. So, and then he didn't believe me. He had to go look it up. So me and him don't argue about sports. We try not to do that because it can get violent. But not really. But it can get nasty. So that's why I don't do that. But
dude, I can't stand Notre Dame. Go ahead.
I know. I can't either. But there's other teams I hate more, but this would be so sweet. This would be so sweet for me to have Syracuse win this game. It would be the biggest win of the season for me, depending on the bowl game. But it could be even bigger than that in some sense. Probably not.
I can't. My buddy at work, Eddie, he's a Georgia fan, and he's been for 3 weeks. Joe, you guys got to beat Notre Dame. You guys got to beat Notre Dame because to him, Notre Dame needs to lose for Georgia to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, right.
So, and there's a lot of other fans like that, and the whole thing, and we talk about it all the time, and he gets so just pumped up about it, and he's just like, they're not even in a conference, and it's just
one day we'll talk about that, Joe.
Huh?
One day we'll talk about that. We had a great conversation on the phone about that.
Well, dude, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just really annoying, and we've had to deal with it forever because I was just talking to him about it, and he talked about that, and he talked about how it's just he thinks that it's just like one of those things where like they're just riding off their history. They haven't really done too much. And there's that one year a couple years ago where
they got crushed in the national championship game.
Yeah, but that's his whole point. His whole point is they could schedule whoever before they could schedule whoever they basically wanted, and they had all their normal yearly rivals in the Navy and Army and Boston College. And, yeah, exactly, USC, but as long as they went undefeated, they were in the huge game, or the college football playoff. And then, like you said, got smoked by Alabama. So, again, it's just one of those things. I've hated it since the Big East and especially the ACC.
Every team needs to be in a conference. I don't care if you got your own TV station or network or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, you got all that money pouring in, and you don't have to worry about nothing. It's kind of. I'll tell you what,
it's kind of better stay relevant because if they end up, it definitely is. But if they end up being something that's falls off and they're not winning, and it's not. I mean, if that station loses ratings and is, if they ever hit something where they go on a little lull,
I don't think they will. Really, station with the network or whatever.
What's that?
I don't think that'll happen with the network. I think the fans will keep that afloat. It's whether or not it should be allowed is the thing, in my opinion.
But can the NCAA do anything? Would it have to be the
they could if they said you have to be in a conference.
The ACC at least stepped up and did something bigger than the Big East. The ACC came out and they said they had to play 4 ACC opponents a year. So at least they forced Notre Dame to have to step up and at least
and face ACC opponents.
Yeah, because it's a good football team that you're allowing them to get the fruits of the lacrosse and all the other sports, the basketball, the women's basketball, all the other things.
Right.
And then when it comes to football, they're like, nah, we're just going to do our own thing over here. And it's like, wait a minute. So, and it doesn't sit well with most fans.
No, it doesn't.
So
Including
I just hope, and I know there's going to be so many people on the same thing. There's going to be, I just hope that our fan base turns out at the stadium, but I know across the nation watching on ESPN2.
Yeah.
Is it on ESPN?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No,
on
it's not.
ESPN2,
It's on, I think it's on national
It's on the Notre
television.
Dame network, right? Which is Channel 3.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the damn basketball game.
Yeah, it's on national TV,
Either way, everyone watching on national TV is going to be cheering against Notre Dame if you're not a Notre Dame fan. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our fans will turn out to Yankee Stadium. I think they do. I think a lot of them are residing in that area. A lot of them aren't that far away. They don't have to be in Syracuse. Hell, I send the Cuse crates. I send them all over the East Coast. So there's fans everywhere, and mostly because they can't stand the weather in Syracuse, so they've left and they didn't go back. So, yeah. And hey, look, let's go Cuse. Go Cuse. Let's go.
Dude.
Because we can go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Games. Games every day.
And like you were talking about the other day, and that's what I was talking about during the podcast, was there's probably going to be a butt clinching moment in every single one of these games. That's what I meant to when I said 3 days in a row. Like, we're going to have a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday where most likely it's going to be back to
we're going to be puckered up.
The cardiac Cuse with basketball and with football. I mean, even if we end up pulling it out against Notre Dame, it's not going to be a blowout. So you're going to hopefully we just don't screw the pooch and give up this opportunity to actually be able to jump into the top 10 and really, really, just go above and beyond this national recognition that, would only help us.
Absolutely. All right, yeah. All right, pucker up, Buttercup. That's it.
Pucker up,
That's all I got.
Get ready for Thursday, and hopefully, dude, this is the thing, bro.
Don't ever sing again. Go ahead.
Oh, stop it. If
we
lose on Thursday.
Yes. If we lose on Thursday, that would suck. Yeah.
Do you know what time the game is on Friday?
I don't.
Consolation game is at 4:30, and the championship game is on 6:30. So if we lose, we'll be playing at 4:30 on a Friday.
Be a conflict of 4:30 on a Friday would suck for you. I'll be home.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's awesome.
I
got my sunglasses on my hat.
Let's hope we don't lose against UConn. That would really suck on top of everything else.
Yeah, we got to get that.
Yeah.
We got to get that.
So, all right. Thanks to JP Mulligans. Thank you to my bookie. Thanks to James on guitar. And thanks to all of you for listening. Help spread the word. We really appreciate it. Let's get ready for a couple days of some freaking orange action. Let's get it. Let's get pumped.
Dude, hopefully 3-0. Hopefully next time we talk, it'll be 3-0, and it'll be wild if it is.
Well, it'll be more than 3-0 by the next time we talk if they win. So
I'm talking about the 3 days.
Oh,
we'll go 3-0 Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. We talk on Sunday.
Right. Okay, I got you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Miscommunication. All right. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
This has been the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. Be heard. Contact us on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and tweet at us using hashtag Cuse Militia.
Did you just flip me off and slam a beer? You hardcore, man.
Maybe.